For all his sons and his daughters won't fill the cities with faces. Iniquities of they father, bloodthirstiest of our nation. Not for living water, waiting to put that work in. Hamashiach give us that order, prepare to slaughter. For all his sons and his daughters won't fill the cities with faces. Iniquities of they father, bloodthirstiest of our nation. Not for living water, waiting to put this work in. Hamashiach give us that order.
Y'all got anything? Bring it out.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 6, verse 3. Verse 2. Do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world?
Go ahead.
And if the world shall be judged by you, are ye unworthy to judge the smallest matters?
We understand. A lot of times you hear people say, you know, saints. They never clarify who the saints are, right? Get that in Psalms 148. We gotta understand who these saints are. We use general terms a lot, not knowing that the Bible defines them. It actually gets into detail and be specific about who they are. Now when we understand who they are, which is going to show you that it's the children of Israel, then we got to ask ourselves in the world today, well, who are the children of Israel? Is it the people in the land right now? Is it the people walking around with the long curls? Why are they not influencing the world to be righteous? We've been following after them because they create, without getting into the conspiracy of it all, they run the banks. Not run the banks, but they own the majority of the banks, and most of the banks run and operate off of the same system. See how we draw the conclusion? Not that we're trying to be, you know, some sort of conspirator. It's you have the control by way of the majority. Same thing with sports. The owners are the majority of them. So would it be safe to say that you guys are coming up with the concept of how these leagues are ran? It's not a far-fetched thing, because it's not like different teams run and operate different ways. No, we see what happened to Kyrie, and their owner is not Jewish. So the Jewish masses have an influence over the minority of people that are not. Again, Brooklyn Nets is owned by a Chinese-Canadian guy. Why is he getting involved into anti-Semitic repercussions and punishment? See what I'm saying? Because it's an influence. So if they have such an influence, why are they not the way that they can influence the world to make sure that we don't say anything about the Holocaust or anything about whether or not they can run and control stuff? Why can't they influence us to keep the Sabbath? Why can't they influence us to wear fringes? Why can't they influence us to keep our beards? Why can't they influence us to just serve and worship the Most High God with all our heart and soul? They don't, because they're not the people, and they have the control. The Lord says, if you disobey my law, statutes, and commandments, you're not going to have control. You're going to be the tail, and you're not going to be the head. These are the things we start to put together, right? Psalms 148, bring it out.
From the top?
Yep, 13.
God. This is the book of Psalms 148, verse 13.
Go ahead.
Let them praise the name of the Lord, for his name alone is excellent.
Go ahead.
His glory is above the earth and heaven.
Read.
He also exalted the horn of his people.
God also exalts the horn of his people. Read.
The praise of all his saints.
And the praise of all his saints. Read.
Even of the children of Israel.
Which are the children of Israel. So when it says that the saints shall judge the world, the Israelites are going to judge the world. Why? Because we have the judgments of God. Go one chapter behind and read verse 19. Read. Verse 19. 147:19.
Oh, slide.
Go ahead.
This is the book of Psalms 147, verse 19. He showed his word unto Jacob.
He shows his word unto Jacob. Jacob's name was changed to Israel. That's how you get the Israelites. The saints of God. The ones that's going to judge the world. Because he showed his word unto Jacob. Read.
His statute and his judgments unto Israel.
His statutes and judgments unto Israel. That's how Israel is going to judge the world. And if the world is going to be judged by Israel, they have to be willing to judge even the smallest matters. Because we try to compartmentalize the weightier or the more serious matters versus the ones that say, it's not that big of a deal. But Christ himself says what? If you break one of the least commandments, you're going to be called least in the kingdom of heaven. And we don't want to be called least in the kingdom of heaven. We want to be called the greatest. We want to be under and amongst the ruling government headed by Christ. Keep reading.
Verse 20. He have not dealt so with any nation.
Go ahead.
And as for his judgments, they have not known them.
This is not for any other nation to do. This is our job and our responsibility. We're going to be the judges, we're going to be the jurors, and we're going to be the executioners. But we're going to do this in righteousness, not in the corrupt manner and the corrupt way in which we have seen in our lifetime. And a lot of times that's what we compare it to. We say, well, man is flawed, systems are flawed, so I don't want to really get too much into the arbitrary details of how X, Y, Z. I just think that everybody should just love one another as if we're going to just govern ourselves. No, that's not how world, life, or anything works. Everything has a system. Everything has a top and everything has a bottom. There's always going to be what they call a stratum, right? Christ is going to be the head, and Israel's going to be under that, and everybody's going to fall under that. And when we have somebody as righteous as Christ, as the ruler and as the judge, and as the Israelites, when they're fulfilling their duties and reaching their fullest potential, nothing could ever go wrong. It'll be everything that we've always said that we wanted, yet never seen. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Got something? Bring it up.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 29, verse 2. When the righteous are in authority,
when Christ rules, read,
the people rejoice.
It's going to be something to rejoice over. You're not going to have to worry about whether or not the lawyer did enough to establish reasonable doubt. You don't have to worry about whether or not your lawyer did enough to prove you're innocent. I mean, to prove that you're, or that somebody that did something to your family is guilty. You don't have to worry about that. We're not going to be dealing with a corrupt system. Somebody get that, was that Deuteronomy 18, to make diligent inquisition? 19 and 18. Go ahead.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 19, verse 18.
Read.
And the judges shall make diligent inquisition.
So when we judge, it says you got to make a diligent inquisition. You got to really look into the matter before we can make a judgment. And if there's no evidence, if there's nothing to be presented, there's no guilty charge. It's just fairness, right? Go ahead.
Behold, if the witness be a false witness and have testified falsely against his brother, then shall ye do unto him as he hath thought to have done unto his brother.
Now, how would a situation like that translate into the world today? Remember the woman, or did you hear about the woman that made the false accusation about Emmett Till?
Yeah.
Right?
Still free.
She's still alive, and she's still free, but she came out and confessed that her testimony on Emmett Till that got him killed was false. So we just read in the laws of God that he gave them to Moses to tell them to the children of Israel that was supposed to be translated to the rest of the world as wise. Whatever you do as a false witness, and whatever that witness, whatever your testimony caused to happen to the person you're testifying against, if you did it falsely, you're worthy of the same thing. So the Lord is telling us that the woman that swore falsely against Emmett Till deserves the same punishment Emmett Till got. Read it again.
Right. Verse 18. And the judges shall make diligent inquisition. And behold, if the witness be a false witness and have testified falsely against his brother.
False witness testifying falsely against his brother. Read.
Then shall ye do unto him.
Then you're going to do unto that false witness. Read.
As he has thought to do unto his brother.
As you had thought to do unto your brother. And it ain't just a thought, because they actually did it. But what did the government say? They are not going to pursue any charges against this woman that got Emmett Till killed. That's the difference between a righteous judge that's going to be judged by the saints, or a righteous world being judged by the saints, where the people are going to actually rejoice in righteous judgments, versus the one we living in, which is corrupt. And again, that's the thing of turning everything upside down. Wickedness is prevalent and winning in the world today. And what we're out here to do is to build up the congregation of the Lord in order to turn things right side up, where we have that control and that authority to do things the right way.
For all his sons and his daughters won't fill the cities with faces. Iniquities of they father, bloodthirstiest of our nation. Not for living water, waiting to put that work in. Hamashiach gives that order, prepare slaughter. For all his sons and his daughters won't fill the cities with faces. Iniquities of they father, bloodthirstiest of our nation. Not for living water, waiting to put this work in. Hamashiach gives that order.